Welcome to another episode of the Mailman Podcast, and it's been a while since I've done one of these. Halloween was, I like to think it was pretty successful, and really had a lot of fun doing that, and it was just really cool to do. Maybe one day in the future I'll do something else like that, and it was just a lot of fun to do. So thank you all for watching / listening to Halloween. It was great fun to do. And but I do have to admit that now it's kind of relaxing. It's kind of cool to go back to a regular schedule, as it were. You know what I mean? And today I'm going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite movies. And it's not a movie that I listed in my top 10 movies list that I did last year. It's I'll probably put it as number 11 on my list, you know. And the movie is The Runaways. And it's a movie I've kind of wanted to talk about for quite a while now, so I'll get that started in just a few minutes. But first, time for the shout out. One, the Chucky's Playground. Just a really, really great place. An awesome hangout for any Chucky fan, or any horror fan, or just anybody in general. You know, it's just a really great place with great people, you know. I'll just go ahead and name a few people off the top of my head that are just great people. You know, people like Spanky, G, Sweetface, you know, people like that. They're just really cool people to hang around with, and just very nice as well. And so it's just a great place. If you haven't signed up, definitely join us, because we just have a lot of great things going on. You know, we have a Secret Santa thing that we're going to be doing next month, courtesy of Sweetface. And that's just stuff, really cool stuff as well. We also have a great fanfic, The Ballad of Tiffany Valentine, by Simon Gray, or Spin-Gray, as Spanky G like to call him. And we might have other stuff planned. It's just a really exciting time right now. Today, at the time I'm recording this, it is the 10th anniversary of Seed of Chucky, like the 10th anniversary. On this day, 10 years ago, Seed of Chucky was released. And I'm probably the only person on the face of this planet who actually likes that movie. But, yeah, so just a lot of exciting stuff is happening, you know, so go ahead and join us. You won't regret it. It'll be the best thing that you've ever done. So now, another shout goes out to my best friends in this entire world for life. Spanky and G, Movie Mayhem with Spanky and G. You know, still been putting out episodes of Movie Mayhem. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about the two that they done. Bordello of Blood was the one last week. And since I didn't do a podcast last week, I'll go ahead and talk about that one as well. That's something that I have never seen nor heard of. You know, it's just kind of one of those movies that kind of just never really watched before. I have heard of Tales from the Crypt, obviously. I've seen parts of it, of that show, but I've never really seen, that movie before. And with Dennis Miller as the lead, I probably won't. I just don't really care much for him. I mean, he was good in Joe Dirt, but other than that, just not a fan. But it does sound interesting, that's for sure. And then this week they did The Pest, which sounds like an incredibly racist and bad movie. Like, it really does sound just kind of like total crap. Yeah, and apparently I was shocked because I Love Rock and Roll is used in that movie. That's what they said. A scene that breaks Metal Matt's heart. And, you know, really, and the Pest really should know better. I Love Rock and Roll is way better than that. I don't know, Con Mambo, whatever it's called. I don't care. Anyway, it sounds like a craptacular movie. I might check it out just based out of pure curiosity, as it were. So, again, great show. If you haven't listened to it, definitely check it out, because it's just a great show with two very cool people, Just a great show. And so now, and I just love those two. Like, I really do. I consider them my closest friends. It's just a great shout out to them, and they're a great show, Movie Mayhem. So anyway, it's time to move on to Shoot the Shuffle. And number 1, Walk on Water by Aerosmith from Big Ones. This is actually a pretty cool little song from their greatest hits album back in 94, 95. So something like that. 94, it was mid-90s for sure. And this is a really cool, pretty cool little song. Number 2, Bedrock Anthem by Weird Al Yankovic from Alapalooza. A great parody of Under the Bridge and Give It Away by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And this one's about the Flintstones. And I'm not really a Flintstones fan. Like, I just never really got into it. But I might actually cover that live-action Flintstones movie in a future episode, because that's a bad movie. Like, I really don't like that movie. The prequel, on the other hand, actually isn't that bad, honestly. But, yeah, so, anyway, pretty good song. Number 3, Machine Man by Judas Priest from Demolition. This is an okay song. It's not that memorable, but whatever. Number 4, I Got to Get Paid by ZZ Top from La Futura. And this was an album that really took a long time to get out. I think they released it like a decade after the last one, because the last one was in like 2003, and this one was in 2012, I think. I want to say it's 2012. I really don't know. But this is a pretty good song. Number 5, The Day Seattle Died by Cold from Year of the Spider. I love the Year of the Spider album. I think it's really cool. And this one, it's an okay song. Number 6, One Shot at Glory by Judas Priest from Painkiller. A really good song from Judas Priest. When I first heard this song on the video game Brutal Legend, and that's a really great game. Number 7, House of God by King Diamond from House of God. A really great King Diamond song. Number 8, This Is Gonna Hurt by 6am from This Is Gonna Hurt. This one is a pretty solid song from 6am. I'm not the biggest 6am fan in the world. I prefer Motley Crue just a little bit better, but yeah, it's still an okay song. Number 9, Judgment Day by Whitesnake from Slip of the Tongue. And this was back when I believe Steve Vai was Whitesnake's guitarist for a time, and he didn't really fit into it that well. I don't know. It just didn't mesh together all that great. And I prefer his solo stuff better than that album. Number 10, Slice of Your Pie by Motley Crue from Dr. Feelgood. This song is a really, really great kind of glam metal kind of song, I mean, it is definitely a Motley Crue song for sure. So that's all for Shoot the Shuffle. And now it is time to move on to The Runaways. And this is a movie that I've kind of been wanting to do for quite a while now. I've been wanting to do this movie on the show, but other things kind of got in the way. And I wanted to do this episode last week, but I've just been really busy lately. I got a new job, and come home, and my schedule doesn't really give me a lot of time to kind of relax and do this kind of thing. But I'm trying to work around it. So I might record these podcasts on my day off or on the weekends. But definitely want to try and work it out. I'm still want to try and do these weekly. They're not going away anytime soon, you know. I'm still going to be doing these because I truly do love doing it. But anyway, The Runaways, I really do love this movie. And the first time I saw the Runaways movie, it actually wasn't too long ago. In fact, I'd probably say it was like last year or so. It was probably last year, I believe. And I saw this. I kind of heard about it, you know, and I was really curious to watch it. And so I decided to go ahead and just give it a watch, you know. So. But yeah, I saw it last year because I kind of heard about it, you know, on the internet, and this was when I was really becoming a big Joan Jett fan. You know, I had to have like every album by her. I had to see everything that she was in, read about everything about her, and so I decided to see this movie, and I really just loved it right away. I mean, I just loved everything about it, you know what I mean? And I rented it from my library because usually when I want to rent something, I'll usually just rent it from my library because it's free. You know, it's just the way that it is. But I rented it, and I kind of really just did fall in love with it right away. And usually when I rent a movie and I end up loving it, I'll usually try and buy it. And one thing that I really love about the fact that the one thing I really do love about, you know, kind of being outdated a little bit, kind of loving all this kind of retro stuff, is that I can get stuff like that relatively for cheap, you know. Like a lot of the movies I like are usually under $10, which is really great for me, you know. And I think that The Runaways cost like $13 actually, because it was still relatively new. It came out in 2010, so it wasn't really that cheap, nor was I really expecting it to be anyway. But yeah, I decided to go to a place called Suncoast Video. And it was a couple hours away from where I live. And this place, I am telling you right now, I swear to God, they have every single friggin' movie ever made. Like, that place is really just gigantic. And the funny thing about that is, it's in a mall. Yet it really does seem like a giant store, you know what I mean? Like, they pretty much have everything. Like, every genre. They even have, like, music stuff. You know, I think that's... And I found this, I found The Runaways under the drama section. Like, I don't know if that's exactly the right genre for it. Yeah, it's just a really cool store. I've gotten other stuff from that store. I got the Weird Al collection, video collection, and UHF there. I think I got Child's Play from that store. I believe I got Child's Play, the 20th birthday edition from that store. So, yeah. And I actually did see all, I think I actually did see all 6 movies in that store. The separate DVDs of it, which was really cool because I had never seen the separate DVDs for Child's Play 2, 3, Bride of Chucky. I'd seen Seed, I think, but I'd never seen Bride, and that was really cool, very gratifying for me, because I'm a huge fan of it, as you all know. But yeah, overall, it's still a really cool, store. And, but anyway, kind of going off track for just a little bit, I'll go in and just start talking about the Runaways, because I don't want this to be like a super long, I don't want this to be a super long episode, you know what I mean? So we start off with Cherie Curry, played by Dakota Fanning, getting her period. And that's how you know a film is going to be good, when it starts off with a girl having their period. And anyway, she kind of dreams of being a rock star, and she idolizes David Bowie, and kind of dresses herself up to resemble his character Aladdin Sane, which is a great choice. And she lip syncs to Lady Grenon's Soul at her high school talent show. And that was really a great choice of a song. And it's a song that not a lot of people have really heard of. It wasn't released as a single. I believe it was the final song on the Aladdin Sane album. And it's just a really cool little song. And Joan Jett is played by Kristen Stewart. And I know all of you are laughing right now when I say that, but I really don't think that she's that bad of an actress in this one. She's actually pretty good, to be honest. And I'll say this. In the Twilight movies, she's terrible. I'm not going to lie. She is terrible. But the way I see it, she's not really given a lot of great material to work with in that movie. So it really doesn't, surprise me that she's bad in that one. In this one, she's very good. And at a club one night, I believe it was Rodney's, and she meets somebody named Kim Foley, or however you say it. And he's played by Michael Shannon. And you might know Michael Shannon as the guy that played General Zod in Man of Steel, which that might be another future Metal podcast episode. Maybe when Batman vs. Superman comes out, I can do Man of Steel, because I don't want to say anything. I think some people do know how I feel about that film, but yeah. So anyway, his performance in this he's kind of over the top a little bit. He's not really unbelievable. He's not totally outrageous. It's sort of the right amount of over the top, if that really makes any sense. And he introduces Joan to Sandy West, who happens to be a drummer. And they all want to form an all-girl rock band. And so they kind of go through all the clubs to look for hot blondes, and they discover Cherie. And then they audition at a trailer park in the San Fernando Valley. And Kim and Joan write Cherry Bomb for Cherie to perform at her audition. And they all end up forming a band called the Runaways. And there's also a few other people. For the most part, this film focuses on Cherie and Joan in particular. There's a few other, musicians like Sandy West and Lita Ford, and there's even a bassist in there, but they really don't play a large part in there. At the beginning, you kind of think that Sandy is going to become a pivotal part of it, but she ends up not really being in it that much. And Lita Ford is played by Scout Taylor Compton, who you might know from Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. She played Laurie Strode in there. I know all of you are laughing right now, but just go with it. And and Lita really does come across as really unlikable. I'm not sure if that's how it went in real life or not. I really don't know, but for some reason, she just really just comes across as this kind of really unlikable, you know. And the bassist is named Robin, and she doesn't speak at all. Like, she has no lines in this one. She just stands there and plays a bass guitar. That's about it. And I think the reason for that is because the actual bassist, Jackie Fox, didn't want them to use her name or her likeness or anything like that. And I think it was the same thing with Lita Ford. She didn't really want to give the producers her life story rights. But so that's partly why it only focuses on Shuri and Joan. And I think that really is that's kind of a weakness of the film, the fact that it doesn't really focus on all five of them. But, you know, I'm kind of fine with that. Because Shuri and Joan have the most personality out of all of them anyway. So it really doesn't bother me all that much. And the Runaways, play a couple parties. And one of my favorite scenes is when they're performing at a house party. And they're trying to dodge kind of like bottles. Joan kind of dodges it with her guitar, and she hits a girl in the head with the bottle that was being thrown at her. And I thought that was really funny. And Kim Foley, sometimes he can come across as kind of unlikable, but other times he can be pretty entertaining as well. You know. I think he's upstairs talking to someone on the phone. I don't know exactly who, but he's talking to someone on the phone. He's like, "Do you hear what's going on downstairs? Do you? That's the sound of hormones raging." But yeah, so that's just one of my favorite scenes in there. And they're soon signed to Mercury Records, and they release an album, and they travel to Japan. And this was, and they're treated kind of like royalty in Japan. This was back in the days where bands were very huge in Japan. Like, basically, and this might be a little bit weird to say, but it's kind of like that scene in Spinal Tap, and this is Spinal Tap, where they learned that they're like super big in Japan because of Sex Farm or something like that, and that's kind of like what it reminds me of. Except it really did happen in real life, and the Spinal Tap thing was kind of parodying and satirizing how big they were, you know. Like Cheap Trick were big in Japan, that's for sure. I think they released a live album called Live at Budokan, and the Runaways actually did release an album called Live in Japan, which is a really great album. You know, if you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. It's a really good live album. And there's kind of friction going on between the band because there was magazines that have pictures of only Shuri, and she thought that the articles were to cover the whole band, but it really only covers her. And Shuri ends up getting like really addicted to drugs and overdoses in the hotel. And they're recording their next album, and Shuri just kind of breaks down and doesn't want to play anymore. Shuri ends up quitting the band, and like this is where it kind of doesn't really stick to the truth that much, because in the movie it's kind of depicted that it's the end of the band right then and there. In reality, they did a few more albums. They did a couple more albums with Joan on lead vocals. Waiting for the Night, and now we're the Runaways. Here's the Runaways, or something like that. It wasn't that great of a final album anyway. But yeah, and so they kind of all go their separate ways, really. Like, from this point on, we don't hear anything about Kim Fowley or the other band members again. Like, after that particular scene, there's one scene in which Kim, and I don't know what the hell he's sitting in. Like, it's kind of the 70s kind of net chair, I think. I really don't know what you would call it. But he's like, yeah, the Runaways were a failed experiment. You know, and he's like, and he's just like talking on a tape recorder. I'm not sure if he's like doing an interview with somebody or what. I don't know, but he's like, am I worried about them? No, they'll be fine. 3 years from now, they'll be living in the valley, fat, pregnant, and happy as fleas on a dog. As far as me, I'm on my way to rock and roll legend. That's kind of like what he says in that. He's kind of bashing him a little bit. Sherry ends up being in rehab because she ends up kind of collapsing at the grocery store and ends up collapsing in a phone booth. And she ends up being in rehab. And I say this as air quotes because if you've seen the movie, she doesn't look like she's in rehab. More like she's in a mental hospital. Like, it really does look like a jail, basically. You know, because the scene takes place in like this backyard that really reminds me of the Shawshank Redemption. You know what I mean? Like, it really does feel like it's prison. I don't know. Shirley Curry came to Arkham in 1975. No, that's not how it goes. Shawshank. I'm thinking of Robot Chicken now. And when they did the Batman parody, Shirley Curry came to the mental hospital in 1975. That is a terrible impersonation, but I don't care. But Joan ends up going solo. Ends up starting her own band, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, of course. And a few years later, Sherry's kind of working at a bakery, and Joan's cover "I Love Rock and Roll" is on the radio, and she ends up calling the station where Joan just happens to be giving an interview. Like, it is complete coincidence. It's actually kind of contrived a little bit. Like, Cherie just happens to hear Joan Jett's song on the radio while Joan is giving an interview. And it's kind of, and she actually ends up calling her, and it's kind of awkward at first, but she continues working, and she kind of smiles when Crimson Clover comes on the radio, and that's the end of the movie. So, all in all, it's a really good movie. You know, it does have its flaws. You know, I don't think the characters are as developed as they probably could have been. But overall, I really do love this movie. I love the kind of atmosphere it kind of gives off, you know what I mean? Just a lot of great stuff is in this movie. The performances are really great as well, especially from Kristen Stewart, Dakota Fanning, and even Michael Shannon's pretty good in this one. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's really a really great movie. And if you're really curious about Joan Jett's band prior to her going solo, if you're really curious about 70s rock, you know, definitely check it out because it's definitely a great rock and roll movie. So that's all for this episode of the Mailmat Podcast. And next time, I'm actually going to be doing 3 episodes this week because I really feel bad for not having an episode last week. So I'm going to be doing a couple other episodes this week. I think the next episode, I might try and get an episode out tomorrow on Thursday. Either Thursday or Saturday. But the next episode will be on Super Mario Brothers. It's either going to be that one or Stuart Little. I'm not sure which one, but either way, it's still going to be coming out. So, and the reason I'm going to be doing Super Mario Brothers is because of something that Spanky and G said in the past episode, because John Leguizamo was in the past and he's in Super Mario Brothers as well, and they actually mentioned that movie. And it kind of made me want to do a episode on it. So, yeah, so expect either Super Mario Bros. Or Stuart Little sometime very soon. So, thank you for listening, and I'll see you then.